What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Saturday, February 11, 2023. We got 9 games on the NBA schedule, so I don't want to waste any time. I'm trying to, do a better job at keeping these videos under a certain time frame, but I also want to share so much information with you so I get caught up in, the balance there. However, I do want to highlight I'm trying to highlight at least one player prop from each game. If there's nothing from a game that I like, I'm not going to force anything in there. I'm just going to skip over that game as a service to you all because I don't want to just give you crappy props for the sake of just throwing a name out there. So if I don't like something from a game and you don't hear me talk about a certain team, it's just because nothing is standing out to me. But doesn't mean you can't play somebody from that game. So before we get started, I just want to say I just want to comment on something. Little bit of a stir in the comment section over, I think it was 2 videos ago. I made a pretty lazy I had a pretty lazy take on an NBA team that a few people didn't really care too much for, and it was a lazy take on the Sacramento Kings, and I think I called them a bad team, and you know what? They're not a bad team. And when I was doing the video, I really was just honestly looking at what they do poorly on defense and trying to target those opportunities. And I just want to shout out TD Eckler for standing up for the Kings and just providing feedback and comments. I truly appreciate that, and it made for a pretty nice back and forth in the comment section. So appreciate that. I'll always be the first one to admit when I have like a lazy take or if I'm just not informed. So I can't retract my statement, but I will say that they're definitely not a bad team. Much better than a lot of people probably give them credit for. They're having a great season this year, and I actually wish them the best tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. Being a Houston Rockets fan, Rockets are a bad team. Being a Rockets fan, I can't root for a Texas team outside of Houston. So let's go Kings. All right. Let's get started and jump right into the Prize Picks board. Quite a few picks to talk about, and I want to start over in the Indiana. Oh no! I want to start over in the Miami and Orlando game. So I have one prop that stands out to me today, and it's Franz Wagner over 1.5 3-pointers made. Now, when I was looking at his game log, he has played Miami before. He has done very well. He went over his prop in that game, and he actually had a pretty decent outing. Now, this game was played back in late January, so it is pretty recent. So I will take this information and use it for research, unlike some of these games that get played like back in October where so much changes in like 3 months. We can look at this game as a pretty good sample of what we can expect today. So Franz Wagner went 3 for 4 from behind the 3-point line against Miami, who gives up a ton of points to the 3-pointer by way of 3-pointer. Can never word that correctly. 29th in the NBA versus 3-point shot. How about that? The only thing that concerns me is Franz Wagner went 75% from 3, and I believe his season average is somewhere in that. Well, not season average. Let's look at the last 10 games. 29, 29, 40. I mean, what was that? 100%. He took one shot. 14. There's 50%. There's 75. So he doesn't really hit 50% from the field. And that's the only thing that concerns me with his prop of 2. So if he takes 4 shots, he has to hit 2. So hopefully he takes more than 4 3-point attempts today. But we all know how bad Miami is at defending the 3. So I feel like that could create more shot attempts for him from downtown. I still like his prop at 1.5, so I think this is in play as well. I just think it's in play. You could also look, if you wanted to Paolo Banchero's rebounds, which remain very low, 6.5. Miami is coming off a back-to-back, so I don't know, a pretty intense game versus the Rockets. Last-minute bucket by Jimmy Butler, who I don't think is playing tonight. So yeah, Paolo Banchero's rebounds do stand out to me. I mean, he just keeps doing it, man. He's got 7 games in a row, I think, of hitting his rebound prop. But I don't want to dig too much into this game. This is one of those games where I mentioned earlier, you don't have to force anything from a certain game. I like a couple of props, but I'm not going to reach and try to find gems here. There are 10 other games on the slate we can talk about. So with that being said, Let us move on to the Denver-Charlotte game very quickly. Denver got beat by the Orlando Magic, the aforementioned Orlando Magic. If I had to go somewhere in this game, I like Jokic over his points, and I like Jokic over his points and assist. Where are you? Are they on the board? There, no, that's rebounds and assist. Points and assists at 37.5. Fantasy score is in play. And I do like the fact that this game is on the road because, as I mentioned before, the Nuggets play much, much stronger at home, and they blow teams out at home. They don't blow too many teams out on the road. Now, remember, this was the infamous game, this Charlotte game. I think he put up like 40, 40, and 40. I might be exaggerating there a little bit, but he had a monster game against this Charlotte Hornets team. So let's look at his points. Put up 40 points against Charlotte in their last game, 27 rebounds, and only 10 assists. Come on, man. Total PRA, 77. Ridiculous. So don't expect that again, but I think his numbers are bumped up a little bit today because of that. People are going to see that game and say, oh, he's going to do the same thing. Probably not. Probably not. Also, was this game at home? It was. This game was in Denver. It's like I said, different playing, like different team, road versus home. Still a good team, but they're not blowing as many teams out on the road. So I guess you could go to the Denver side on this one. And then for Charlotte, I like Mark Williams, but he is not on the board. Mark Williams, not on the board. Keep your eye out for his PRA and his points and rebounds for Mark Williams. All right, moving on. Indiana, Washington, Kristaps Porzingis. That's the only player from the Washington side that I'm looking at right now. Kristaps Porzingis, I like him over his rebounds. Too low. I like him over his fantasy score. If he can keep his turnovers down, I think he's averaging 3 turnovers a game. So we need him, before you subtract turnovers, we need his fantasy score at like 48. Because I believe he's giving you 3 turnovers a game. Oh, no, only 2. Never mind. So if his fantasy score is in around that 46.5 to 47, like he's there, and he has 2 turnovers, he's good. If he only gives you 45 fantasy points and he, commits 2 or 3 turnovers, he's not going to hit his prop. So long as he can keep his turnovers in check, score a lot of points, and grab those boards, he should be fine. In his 3 games versus the Indiana Pacers, he's done fairly well. And you will see that once I select the correct prop, his points have gone up 15, 22, 29 over those last 3. One thing that stood out to me that gives me confidence in this pick are his field goal attempts. In those 3 games versus Indiana, he's averaging 13, 13, and 4. So basically, he's giving you 13 shot attempts versus the Indiana Pacers. Now, when you go back and look at his 10-game log, he's averaging 16 and 17. So everything is increasing for him, and I think you can see a better scoring output from him tonight, which would help his fantasy score prospects. And I think you can see him grab 9 to 10 rebounds tonight. That's what I like from this game. Also, keep in mind, no Kyle Kuzma tonight, which opens up more scoring opportunities, fantasy point opportunities for Porzingis. So Washington and Indiana, done. Utah, New York. I like Kelly Olynyk in this game in a couple of different spots. I like Kelly over his rebound prop of 5.5. Also like him over his points and rebounds. There you go. Points and rebounds over 15.5. He's had great success. Good success versus his New York Knicks team on 3 different teams: Rockets, Detroit, and Utah. Dud game when he was on the Detroit Pistons, but nice game when he was on the Rockets. Double-double, another double-double this season versus the New York Knicks as a member of the Utah Jazz. On the other side, I like Julius Randle over his 10.5 rebounds. I think this is too low for Julius Randle tonight. I also like him over his PRA. I don't think this is too low. I just think he can do it because he's been going over 40 pretty consistently. Now, if his fantasy score drops, I like the under on that. Oh, it is here. So it wasn't here before. Okay, I like the under on this, and I'll tell you why. Because Julius Randle is turning the ball over more than you think. Where are you? Turnovers. Yeah. So Julius Randle, turnovers, 4 over his last 5, and then 4 over his last 10. 4 versus Utah. So they got his fantasy score prop set to 45. He needs 46. Let's say he gets you. Let's say he's in or around that 44 range, 45 range, minus his turnovers. That's well below, right? But it's still over his PRA. But he needs to get you roughly around 40, 48, 49, almost 50 fantasy points before you subtract his turnovers in order for him to give you 46. This one's a little too high for me. So I would take the under on this one for sure. Moving into a couple of players who are not on the board yet, at least I don't think they are. Taylor Horton-Tucker and Colin Sexton for the Utah Jazz. They're not on the board. I would look to their points, their PRA, as they're seeing more time on the floor now without Mike Conley there. San Antonio, Atlanta. I like Clint Capella in a few different spots. I like him first half PRA. I like the over on that 11.5 first half PRA for Clint Capella. And then I like him over his points and rebounds for the full game versus the depleted San Antonio Spurs. Maximum 6 picks. Didn't I just get rid of one? There you go. And then I'm waiting on Onyeka Okongwu's props. I like playing this dude. If we can get some good props on him. Right now his free throws are the only one on the board. Over 0.5. He's been getting it. If you want to play his free throw prop, you can. I'm not going to touch it, though. Devontae Graham from the Spurs is somebody I'm also interested in who is not on the board yet. In fact, no Spurs are on the board yet. So, moving into the Cleveland-Chicago game, I like Mobley over his points. 16.5. Now, the Cavs are coming off a nice win versus the Pelicans. They are on a back-to-back, but I still like Mobley's points over his points. I also like him over his first half PRA. For Mobley, should be in that 14 range, 14.5. Jared Allen over rebounds full game. I like this prop at 10.5. Donovan Mitchell over his steals and blocks. I like this as well. Come on, you know who I'm trying to look for here. Over his steals and blocks, 1.5. He can get you 2. That's all he needs. And that's what I like from this Cleveland and Chicago game. Yeah, I haven't really dug into the Bulls all that much. Again, I don't want to force a lot of props. I'm looking at ones that have, the best odds here and the highest probability of hitting. So I'm going to roll with these for now. LA versus Golden State. Klay Thompson over points. It did get bumped up from 25.5 to 26.5. Most books have this at 27 now. I still like it. Jordan Poole over his points and assists. It's at 30.5. I think that got bumped up from 28. Points and rebounds are at 28. So 30.5 for Jordan Poole. PRA is at 33. These both are in play. PRA and points and a half for me. And then from the same game, I like LeBron James. I like LeBron James over his points and assists at 35.5. Who, he took a night off. He relaxed a little bit, did his little speech, and he should be ready to roll for this game. I don't see this being a blowout. Lakers don't get blown out that much. They don't blow teams out at all, but they give up a lot of points. So higher scoring game for sure. This is a good game environment to attack. Now, one game that is not on the board yet, it's the Dallas Mavericks and Sacramento Kings. So I think we're waiting on news for Luka Doncic, if he's playing or not. So that keeps everything kind of up in the air. But if I may share with you a few props that if they do land on the board, this is where I like them at. So Sabonis under 19.5 fantasy points. Sabonis under 7.5 assists. If we can get it at 6 or 6.5, I like that better. I like the over. Fox over 25.5 points. Fox over rebounds and assists at 10.5, or Fox over PRA 36.5. If we get a good Luka point prop, I like attacking guys when they come back from an injury, and this is a great spot for Luka. Over points, over assist on Kyrie. He had 10 yesterday. Assuming his assists are in that 8 to 10 range, I like him. And then Keegan Murray over 2.5 3-pointers made. He had 4 yesterday versus the Mavericks. I think he can put up at least 3 today. So those are the props that I like from today's slate. Let's quickly go over my two-man plays that I said I wanted to share with you all. And I've already locked these in, and I'll show you right now. Mobley and Capella over points and PR. So Mobley over 16.5 points. Full game, 22.5 for Capella, points and rebounds full game. And I like their first half. I mentioned I like their first half props. Mobley over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Capella over points, rebounds, and assists first half at 11.5. And that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, checking this video out. Really appreciate the time you're taking to do so. Drop me a comment below, letting me know who your favorite props on the board are, who have you locked in, and also let me know what you think about my two-man plays that I'm rolling out with, and then all the props that I share with you. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you love them? Do you want to leave them alone? Thank you once again for just hanging out, chilling out with me on this awesome Saturday afternoon and talking some NBA props over on Prizepicks. And until my next video, one video tomorrow, only one video tomorrow. We're going to do a final look video tomorrow. Only 2 games on the board because there's a pretty big football game going on or something like that. Until my final look video tomorrow, Chavez is out.